come back to that. And the first thing that we were looking at today, of course, for the inspection, is the horse. We want to see the horse. And how can we see him? We can see him if he stands correctly, so that you can look at him and go around him. And then when it comes to moving, if he will walk and trot away and back in a straight line towards the judge, then you get the optimum opportunity. Now, we would like to give the horse the best opportunity. People have said to us from time to time, if you're good enough to be coming to the States to look at horses, you shouldn't need everything to be correct and perfect for you. And we would say we don't. But if you want to get the best score for your horse, the best we see of that animal, the more likely it is to be easier to be biased for it. So whether you go for an interview for your work, or whether you go to do an examination or whatever, you want to bias the person towards you rather than in any way negate the situation. So if and the start of that, of course, is the presentation of the horse, as in the turnout. And I think it's fair to say that horses were very well presented. If we take this horse, beautifully braided and looking well, and you can see that it's brushed and shining and all of that good stuff, and enhances the horse's appearance, is naturally better than the bridle that takes from the horse's appearance. So you spend a little bit of time looking at, does it look neat, you know? And since you're primarily ladies in the audience, if you're buying a hat or if you're going to get a garment, you know, you look in the mirror and you ask your friends, and does it suit me? Yes, it does. Great, we're buying that one. But hey, I wouldn't be seen dead in this one. And I were very pleased with Paula when she came out to stand her horse for us. She stood the horse correctly, her own horse, and she also then, when she walked away and went back, she did it in the correct fashion. So what we've asked her to do, well, because we're people who make you work for your living, we don't just let you say, well, you did well, thank you, we want you to do some more. So we've asked Paula, will she help us in showing how to stand the horse and walk the horse to best advantage. Okay. So if we look at this horse at the moment, the first request that we had was to stand the horse parallel to the door. And Dennis and I wondered after a while, do you use this word in America? But now, naturally, of course, the horse is a living animal and he doesn't just stand, you know, and we accept that a bit of movement and coming and going. But the aim would be then to gradually get him back to parallel to the door. Why do we want that? Because even though we're in artificial light here, there's some natural daylight coming through there. And the natural daylight reflecting on the horse, when it was standing out about where we had them, was getting the maximum view of that horse. A nice picture. So Paul, if you stand him up then parallel to the audience this time. Okay, so since you're in a half circle, it's hard to be parallel to you, but that's reasonably good for everybody, yeah? So the horse is standing with his two forelegs neat and correct, and he's standing, yeah? He's not standing under them or over them, he's standing in his natural position, but he was standing with both together. And when we came to look at him, Dennis noted straight away, this girl is very professional, because when we came to look at the front of the horse, Paula stood back like that. She stood so that we can see the horse's legs. When you have a lovely lady there, we don't mind standing behind the nice lady. You know, we can't admire the lady, we have to see the horse. So what Paula did was she immediately stepped aside so that we saw the confirmation of the horse. And when we look at, say maybe if you stand the horse facing the people for a second, Paula. So what are we looking for when we stand the horse like that? We're looking to see how correct is that horse in its front leg conformation. So we view it from the side and we see how good it is. But from the front then, and we'll talk about this when we bring in the grey horse later, we're looking to see, is the horse, is his bone in line, is everything perpendicular to the ground, does he have a nice sized knee, is it proportionate to the horse that you have, and is it in any way displaced, you know, is it a little bit off or not. And we're looking at the fetlock, the length of it, the angle of it. We're looking over the cornet band to see is there any evidence of ring bones and side bones and other sort of conditions that would be a problem in the long time, in the long term. So we're also looking to see how much width has the horse between its legs. And one or two horses today were quite narrow. The draft cross through, say, to the Jockey Club Thoroughbred, they end up maybe a little narrower, draft horses a little wider. And that's okay, because when you cross them, you're looking for something in between. What you're looking to see, are the front legs coming, are they coming nicely off the shoulder? Or do they look as if they're a little bit out too far? Or are they so close together that they look as if maybe if you were in trouble, one front leg would be enough? You don't want that. You want it to be right. And when you're looking at the front as well, we would always put our eye upwards and see longest wheelbase. That is natural to them, not extended out, but the longest natural wheelbase on our side. Because then we have the front leg fairly perpendicular, just as he is now. You can see that his hind leg was nearer to me. Now bearing in mind that this guy is a 2-year-old, and 2-year-olds may not be as steady and standing as sensibly as others might. But the leg that's nearest to the judge, like that, see the way he's standing now? That shows his top line, it shows his body, and it shows us the wheelbase. But we can also see the inside of the opposite legs. So we can now see 4 limbs. The outside of these limbs and their general layout, and the inside of the other ones. So standing in that position when the judge comes here, but then when the judge goes back to the other side, the handler changes the position by either moving back or forward, so that we have the opposite effect. We'll do it for us in a second. So it takes a minute to do that, and he's looking at something and there's something catching his eye. And being a young horse, that's okay. So he's not as good there as he was the opposite way, because his legs are standing 4 square. So if we get him to stand so that they're, just for your benefit, like that. You see that? I can now see the front leg is perpendicular under the horse where it should be. The hind leg was out behind him. Yeah. So I can see the inside of those legs, the inside of the front leg, and we're looking for, injuries inside of the knee. We're looking for splints. We're looking for spavins and things like that. So there are things that we want to see as part of the assessment of the horse. So standing like that, he's a reasonable picture. You can see his top line and stuff, and there's an opportunity to see him. When we go behind the horse, then the overall shape of the animal, and particularly how correct are the hind legs from behind. So to do that, you need to see them standing to his best advantage. So so we want him to go like that now, where he's standing reasonably close together on both hind legs. Because when you put him into that position, one hip changes to the other, doesn't it? One drops a little bit, and so we're trying to that position there now, where the legs are together and everything is even. We can now see, and we're looking at the upper structure pelvis, and the speed and things going. So as a young horse, those things would distract him, and if we were probably worried about things like that, we'd bring him further into the middle of the arena where there's less distraction for him. But we're just trying to show what we're aiming to see, that a horse does not stand like a statue. It's a living animal, and it's moving, and there's things distracting and moving it. But if we get the horse into that position just for a half a minute, that's plenty. But we want to aim for that for a trot. And when you do that, the horse does to us. She picked a spot like the end there, she's walking straight at it, she's looking where she's going, and she's establishing the pace as well. She's not looking to see is he coming with me or not. She's walking and he's coming with her because he knows that's what he's meant to do. So she turns to me again. Why does she stop him? Why does she stop afterwards?
To make sure he's straight.
To make sure he's straight, number one. Any other reason?
Get him on his haunches a little bit.
Get him on his haunches a little bit, and to get him balanced. Because if you come around the corner on a turn and start to trot, the horse is taking off while his body is still twisted. And he's not going to then come forward in a balanced fashion. He's going to take a few strides to get balanced. Equally, when you're practicing that at home, if every time you turn around you trot, the horse is anticipating to trot, so as minute you turn he's expecting to go, and he's taking off and he's going at a pace that's not good for his optimum benefit. So Paula has walked him around, she stood him, she walked a couple of steps to get him balanced, and then she trots. And you see that he comes with her nicely. But to get to Carnegie Hall, generally speaking, what we have to do is to practice until we're blue in the face and then hope that we'll get the steps to get there. And essentially what that means is that we have to do homework. And when I was a young man, I often chat to Dennis about an elderly man that I rode horses for, and he used to always say, Mick, we do our homework at home. So in other words, when we went out in the public with the competition, that the horse wasn't going to nap and not go from the warm-up arena into the jumping class, that he would mannerly do that. And the only way we knew he'd mannerly do that if he did it at home.